Buckle up. I need you to listen good and hard to what I'm going to talk about today. Those of you who are looking to the future, tell me what's going to happen. You're worried. It's coming to a culmination, right? We have all these solar flares that started in 2024. They were supposed to all happen in 2025, and they are going to escalate. We've had these hurricanes unlike any other in the history of the planet. We have fires that are unprecedented. We still have wars. This is insanity, but other things are going to happen. Now, I'm going to talk to you about some predictions that I made that I'm going to remind you if you've been with me for a while, way before anything happened. And here's what I predicted. Actually, it's quite a while ago, maybe within the last year. I'm going to repeat it today because if you stick to this path that I'm going to propose to you, you will go through the opening, the gateway to something beautiful. All right, and we're going to explain why we're going into this crazy bubbling up of conflict with one another's insanity. But I'm going to explain, I did in my last video, but now we're going to talk about what you have to do to buckle your seatbelt and enjoy the ride instead of going into the fear. All right, it is possible. Hear me out. If this makes sense to you, then you could step into a new world that's pretty amazing. Let's go. Welcome to Landria, Onkka on YouTube, here to help you break through those fears and live an amazing life. My channel is about helping you to move past the worries, the struggles, to have an understanding of why you're here, of what you can do with it, and how amazing it actually is. And when you catch on to that, you're going into consciousness. Well, consciousness is when we realize that we are this all-powerful, amazing energy field that is everything. Awakening is when we understand the purpose of it, the divine purpose of even in the worst of things. So those of you who are still asking me, but what about this? I said, what about anything, right? What about the craziness on here with anything, right? Why do we spray chemicals to kill insects and then we eat the food, right? This is like insanity. We are Neanderthals in the great cosmos, but I'm going to talk today about something really important, and that is, yes, we are now going into it big time. If you've purchased my book, I talk about the tipping point. We're in it, and I talk about what's happening and why it's happening. So if you want to get the book, it may be so comforting to you and take you into that conscious space. So I'm going to start right now. I'm going to go straight into exactly what's going to happen, what I had predicted before, and what you can expect, but why it's happening, what's going to happen after that. But there's a caveat. It counts on you, and I'll tell you why. So I hope you'll subscribe, because I got more good stuff, and as I get downloads, I'm going to share them with you. They're far and few between, but when I do share them, they have always come to pass. All right, now the thing about my downloads in pretty much everybody out there, it requires an interpretation. What does that mean? We don't always know why we're seeing what we're seeing or what it always means. We can only share exactly what's coming in, and the less we mess with it, the better, because sometimes human beings, and this is why channelers, they're trying to interpret things according to their own personalities. You can hear the personalities coming in, right? Well, you got to let it go, because there will be messages that only somebody else will know or the public picks up on, and we're going to do that today. I'm going to remind you of what I had predicted. Why are things coming to a head now? Why is all of this happening? Why does it seem like things are bad? Well, everything goes in cycles. Now, if you know astrology and they talk about Uranus, Uranus. Do you remember when we used to call it Uranus? And then it got too goofy. So, astronomers changed it to Uranus. We didn't know it existed for a very long time. So now we know it's there. There's a cycle with Uranus coming around that is related to big changes on the planet. Yes, war has come through during these time periods, and we're in it right now. But let me share something with you. There's so much to talk about. I'm going to hit all these things one thing at a time. Uranus passing through. Astrology is only showing you what is set up to happen. It doesn't predict. It isn't like this is coming in, that means this must happen. It is only a cycle, and we actually control the events behind it. This is why I told you in one of my videos, I did an experiment where I went to different tarot card readers and then back to the same ones, and the stuff they said was so completely different. The rest of October is going to be this, it's going to be this, and I've never seen this before. And I said, you know what? They don't have those answers. I do. So even if they're good, by the way, I don't believe in the tarot stuff. I think very few people actually can do it properly or correctly. Their hands are on the cards, not mine. Their brain is interpreting, not me. And so astrology, I have a little bit more, let's just say, connection with it, because the planets are the planets. The movements are the movements. Then it's the interpretation. But I do believe all energy is connected. So yes, things are happening now that are directly connected to the cycles of the planets. It's a program, all right? We're in a program, right? So when you're playing Pac-Man, there's a program, and certain things keep happening over and over again, not one moment at the next. It happens in a cycle, and it sends the little Pac-Man guys out, and then it escalates, right? The higher you get up in the program and the better you get, then it shifts up into a more advanced program. That's all this is, and that's what the planets, everything is. It's just an energy program cycle that's sending things to us. Now, what does that mean for you and I? First of all, a lot of things that have been happening have not been the worst of what we've experienced on the planet. Not by far, all right? When the Spanish flu, and then there was tuberculosis, and then the world wars had millions and millions and millions of people that far surpassed anything we've experienced here, including our own little health issue. Didn't even light a candle to what they had, but we keep thinking it's escalating worse. It's actually not. Not in the history of the planet. But here's what's happening for us in our lifetime here. Because we haven't experienced that kind of, let's just say, drama on that level, trauma, it seems really, really bad to us. Now we are caught in the cycle of Uranus and the planet transforming, transitioning into something higher. How does that work? When you are playing Pac-Man, I want you to remember, you are not the game. You are the player playing the game. That's the first thing you need to remember when you're getting ready to buckle up. I'm the player. That means I'm not just standing there watching the game. I'm playing the game. I have to learn and to dodge certain things to get to the top, to the leaderboard, all right? It's that simple. That means if I want to get to the top of the leaderboard, I have to really concentrate and get clever and figure out how to avoid all these pitfalls. I chose to play the game. I like playing the game. Why did anyone play Pac-Man or anything? I use Pac-Man because we all know what that is. Because we enjoy it. We want to master it. That's what's happening here. Now, the higher up you go, the more challenges come because we want to get on the leaderboard. We are getting to that point in this cycle, all right? So it goes up to here, and then, there's a new game, and then other players come in, and then they have to figure it out also. But the program will change. Now, as more people are awakening, as I shared in my last video, the lower realms have more to battle because they can't control us anymore. And we're not reacting, we're not fighting with each other. And this is very important. Listen to this part, because if you want to get through these next couple years, you can absolutely fly through it. If you listen to what I'm going to say in the next few minutes and you make this choice. Lower realms, Pac-Man gets more intense because The better you get, the more it wants to take you out. It's going to put its worst forces in, most, let's just say deadly forces in, because, it has to give you a higher challenge because it wants to win and you're making it up there and it doesn't want you to get to the top. That's what you're seeing. So in our matrix, in our program, the use of the power is to get us to destroy each other. Okay? Buckle up, because this is your big choice right now, your decision. You're going to see dense forces speak negative. If anybody's speaking negatively about someone, about other people, about certain races, about certain choices of other people, they are in the basement. If you are still following that and listening to it, you are in the basement. If you're believing it, you are in the basement. It's separation. It's that simple. If you want to get through these next few years and go into the space that the world, the earth is transitioning into, the program is changing, you will be at the top of the leaderboard and other people will never get past here. It's a choice because you're studying, you're doing it, you're going back and trying again, you are breaking through, okay? Some people just don't want to do it. It's funny because even in my businesses, planet conscious businesses, when somebody sets up an appointment with me, and hear me out on this, when somebody sets up an appointment with me, I can tell who is going to be successful and who isn't. I can tell who is not successful in their life before I even talk to them. How is that? How they're answering my questionnaire. They're never committed or serious. And they stay in a cycle. Is this you? They stay in a cycle of blame, and they strike out against other people when they have problems. It's always somebody else's fault. You were supposed to save me. You're not doing this. They did this. And so I hear that, and I usually cancel the appointment. Or they say, well, I've never really done this, or this is part-time, or what I would say. You don't commit. You have to commit to this. You have to commit because you will stay in the cycle of what humans call failure. All right? If you commit and you take on what's going on out there as a challenge to evolve, you will now break through any old patterns, anything that's holding you back and keeping you down in density. You will break through, and you have to start asking yourself, am I believing anything that's negative that causes me to go against somebody else or think that somebody is different or less than me or wrong? That's 100% ego. You will stay in the basement. This is what must be done in order to get through these years, is to not respond to the violent calls, to not respond to the suggestions to do anything that is self-serving. Right? Some people won't go it, they'll do it in different ways. Oh no, we need to hoard and we'll get over here. This is a good thing, we're taking care of people. But that does not include service to others, because you're going to leave this planet anyways. How do you want to leave it? Protecting the human body that is not really you? This is your big test. This is your big test right now. And so how you handle everything, because here's I'm going to talk about the prediction right now. Just before we hit our big lockdown and, nothing really big was happening. I didn't know anybody who was ill. I told you something huge was happening, and I actually used these words in my videos. I kept saying, buckle up, get your house in order. Something huge is happening, and I knew it was going to affect everyone. All right? And I'm going to tell you the difference between that prediction and this one. I knew it was massive. And I said, get everything in order, get your house in order, get this in order, get healthy, because something's coming that's going to be massive. I didn't know what it was. You don't have to know what that is, because the warning was to prepare. Now I'm telling you, and then of course, just a few months later, we got locked down. And I could have never guessed that would happen. Nobody could have. Now I have, and last year I told you that I don't see a huge event happening. I mean, we're talking, everybody talks about, the next big conflict. I don't see that happening. It's not that it can't, because all things are possible and we choose it every moment. So if we go into fear, we can create it, right? We actually create those things. If you don't believe that, then you don't understand your power, and you're probably conscious but maybe not awakened. Those who are awakened know that we completely control everything, and that this game does have teachings and lessons. They never have to escalate to that level, all right? So if you go into fear, you're believing that that can happen. Of course it can happen, but fear actually entangles with it and fuels it. This is going to be tough, because those of you in fear, you're like watching all this stuff that's telling you, some predictions will say that's going to happen, of course, because there's a reality where it does. So it's not that they're right and I'm wrong, or vice versa. It's that I'm telling you that with your focus, you will bring into reality that which you choose. And if you choose peace and learnings, we're going to go through teachings. I'm seeing a series of events happening. And I shared this with you quite some time ago. I told you that I didn't see one big event, and the series were not going to be like one global thing. It was going to be more pockets of events, and it's going to be more individualistic. You, the human experience, because everybody now is playing out their own lessons. This is going to make so much sense to you, I hope. So because one big blanket shutdown is, now how are we going to behave in that? But this is now, I need to know how to place others first. Let's put you in a situation where you have to make that decision, all right? I need to maybe go into forgiveness. Can I go back into this circle of hate and rejection with people that I've blamed, and rectify that, remedy that, and go into compassion, forgiveness? You don't have to be their best friends. It's going to happen in every area of your life where you see that you have maybe not been your best. I just did a video. Have I done my best? Did I do my best? Could I have done more? And if the question, if the answer is no, then you have an opportunity through these events that are happening that are going to be for everybody. Different things. Health, fires, loss of life, loss of material items, all these things are going to happen. Choices to make, whether you follow leaders who are violent and create conflict. That's the old world. If you're still believing all that, then you will live in that. You'll live in it, and you will experience the consequences of that. Why? Because you're creating it. It's not punishment. So if I live in a world where things are separate and I have hate, or you are this and that, I'm still in the material world that's not, it's the illusion. I'm believing it. When I rise above and I go into awakening, I know that we're playing out these lessons, and that I will pull back and not engage in that, because lower frequencies will now encourage and escalate you to get us to fight with one another. They will tell you there's an enemy. There are no enemies. There aren't any. That you do to the least of us, you do to me. But there is no least of us. That was a term used to say that you believe that's the least of us. That person, that drug addict, or that homeless person, and you look down on them. Or that person who votes differently than you. Or that person who you don't approve of their lifestyle. That's you seeing at the least of us. That which you do to the least of us, you do to me. That was Christ saying, you're doing it to me, and you do it to all of us. That is the energy field of all things. And it's your test. So it's your test to say, are you going to continue to do that? Because you're doing it to all of us. This is going to escalate. Now we talk about the planets and Uranus. And I think it's 84 years. You know, we've had revolution and wars, and what were the results of that? Usually good ones, right? We eliminated forces that were trying to separate, that were of fear and hate. All right? Even the Revolutionary War here in the United States was control and abuse over, sorry, England, but, you know, abuse of people here and control of them. And what happens? They will always rise up. There will always be people that say, no more, no tolerance. And they rise up, and then there is usually conflict in that, right? Because this party, who's the controlling ego, doesn't go out quietly. So sometimes this party has to resort to certain things. Now, we're different. We don't want to resort to certain things. We don't want to go into conflict to get rid of them because they're bad, because then we're no better than they are. Our consciousness is raising. So as higher conscious beings, we won't resort to conflict or violence. We won't do it. We won't do it. Because we know ultimately we just transform into something else. So no matter what the final result is, it's my actions that are most important before I transition into something beautiful. And whatever I did here in this scenario is going to determine what happens after that. Oh, we just go to heaven. Nope. You go to your heaven. And there's no judgment, but you're going to know you didn't do your best. So as you will be tempted, some of you will be tempted to see an enemy. And what is it you're protecting? A material world. It doesn't exist. Not in actually real reality. It's a play. You're the player. It's a game. You're not the Pac-Man. You're the player, okay, of the game. You have to master it to get on the leaderboard. You have to be tested in this time period in order for us to go into the new era, the golden era. This is the transformation of it. Have you ever gone on a diet? We've all gone on diets. What's the worst part? When you have to stop eating certain things or amounts of certain things or doing certain things, you have to start working out. It's always painful, isn't it? You're hungry. Oh, I have to say no. Oh, I'm working out. My muscles are sore. That's all it is. And then pretty soon, I don't eat sugar. I don't want sugar. I didn't even eat my own birthday cake. I don't want sugar. I gave it to everybody. It was amazing. Nope. I love working. If I don't work out, I can feel my body doesn't feel good. So now I am on that level of high frequency with those actions. So now that I can't go back. But before you go over, you're addicted to this. You may be addicted to negative media, and you believe that. It's all lies, all of it. It's always a twist on something, always a twist. All right? You know, do they ever just say one thing? No, they tell you a spin on something. They're controlled by money. Of course they are. I mean, think about it. Oh no, they're so-and-so said this. It's always controlled by money and power. And even YouTubers love it. They love getting views because they earn money doing that. They love the fear because they may be in fear-based, and so they love to spread it, and they see way more views than I get. Peace is boring. Oh, I have to be peaceful? I can't go into conflict? I can't listen to my conspiracy theories and blame somebody? I can't be angry with my parents and sit and analyze it? Well, go ahead. See where that gets you. And like I said, I can always tell when I talk to somebody, I hear how they're talking. They're in that world of excuses. And they don't take the initiative. So those in my Digital Explorers Planet Conscious businesses we're creating, these people have no background whatsoever in business or online at all. They don't even know what they're going to do when they come over. We're creating it. They are open beings that say, I want to go into that space of creative. So their focus is 100% on creating something amazing that is higher frequency for them, that they know is going to be higher frequency for everybody. That focus places them in a completely different reality. Even if they struggle with certain areas, they know they're in the right place, right? Those down here continually self-sabotage themselves. They don't take the initiative. They don't try to change. There is always some reality world that they believe. Don't let that be you. You have to step out of it right now if you want to live in that new world. So get ready, right? And the roller coaster, on the roller coaster, and then it evens out, and then you eventually get off. And you say, I made it. Oops, I don't ever want to get on that thing again, right? Some of you might. That's what we're going through. So my prediction was, I do not see a huge cataclysmic event. You know what I'm talking about. I don't see it. I really don't. And the other thing is, I think that we have assistance. We are actually recognizing that, of course, we're not the only ones on the planet. They are not evil. Our neighbors are not evil. There's a balance out there of, high and low frequencies, but they're on a higher level than we are. So their low level frequency, not quite as nasty as ours. And we're allowed to just annihilate one another. They aren't, just so you know. Because the higher levels of consciousness out there now are aware of one another, have rules that don't allow that. I'm not saying things don't play out on planets, there's a conflict, they can blow themselves up, all that other things. It's just a different level of consciousness. We're on the lowest. We kill everything. Use it to go into a completely different way of life where it's simpler, healthier. Start choosing higher frequency friends. Love your family, but you don't have to try and change them or convince them of anything or try and make it work when it doesn't. Allow and bless it, not because, oh, you're a lower frequency. No, you're a lower frequency if you're saying that, all right? Go into a space of not having to have answers. You guys have read the book. It's called The Knowing. The knowing stops judging, stops having to have answers, and just plays it out at your best level. So now I'm going to give you any kind of predictions that I have for, I pick up more on energy events than details of it. It's very difficult to get details because we're in control of it. So why am I getting energy events? I'm picking up on frequency events. How it plays out can change constantly. So it could play out as, some kind of illness. It could play out as some kind of conflict. It could play out as, a weather event. So don't engage. Step back and observe. Don't let the ego get triggered. Don't get involved. You'd have to be watching stuff out there to even know stuff is going to happen. Shut down the media and focus on what my students do, creating something amazing for themselves, getting healthy, and others. Down in my description, I have links to things that you can purchase. They're my affiliate links that will give you discounts for non-toxic body products, home products. We have to stop using that stuff. No plastic. They come in pellets. They smell great. They do an amazing cleanup job. Shampoos, I use bar soap. I've got a store I'm going to tour here soon, and I'll give you guys that. I'll shoot that video for you. You can see what other people are doing that's amazing, that doesn't come in plastic, that doesn't have the toxins. You got to clean out your body. You guys, if you put lotion, I don't use lotions. I use nothing. I don't even use soaps and things. Nothing. If you want to go into the description, you can get my book there. You can go into my Amazon influencer store where I list the things that I tested and tried myself. I don't use a plastic coffee maker. I have glass and I boil it. It's beautiful. That's in there too. I give you all these amazing suggestions so that you can start living that clean life. You're going to feel it. You're going to sleep better, your mind will be sharper, you're going to have a ton of energy. People like think that I'm drinking coffee all day by the way I act, and I'm like, no. All right, you are whole and perfect, strong and powerful, loving, harmonious, and happy. Blessings to you, my friend. Make higher choices if you want to go into that new era, the golden one. If not, play the game out in the basement. It's yours, not to be judged. But it don't feel very good down there, does it? I'll see you in the penthouse. Namaste.